Fuck it, we'll do it live.
You want me to say it?
Comrade-rosie.org.
Visit our website, yo.
Visit comrade/wait. Fuck.
That.
The epoch of incredulity.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like there's more than like that protest that just. Oh, and I think you went to Scott. You posted pictures of it, didn't you? The protest from Saturday.
Yes, the
Yeah.
counter protest to the Nazis.
Yeah. Did you guys see their signs that were like, "Stop communism in America"? Wow.
Yeah, and they had a
Stop the
fucking
terrorists and the communists.
They had a fucking Vietnamese woman to deliver that message.
Yes.
That was like classic right wing like propaganda tactics.
Oh yeah, that was fucked. Did you also see like in the back, like the two fucks literally Nazi saluting?
Well, there was also a dude that was clearly in Atomwaffen flying the Sonnenrad flag
Yes,
for like
I
the
was gonna
first
say
half
that
hour.
next.
And then at the end there was a fucking guy in a duck mask.
Yes.
And the person next to me was like, "Fuck off, Nazi duck."
This is where we are as a society.
What was it, a three presenters flag or whatever?
Yeah.
He
Squirrel.
literally
God
he was
damn
doing
it.
this. He was like doing this, like trying to like get someone to like fucking start like come over and fight him. He was
After I
like,
jumped the
"Look
first
at
barricade,
this," and
I
he
was
was like,
doing that.
"I know what this means." He had like a smug fucking look on his face, like, "Ha ha ha! I'm, like, come fuck me up. I want to get you in trouble. Look at me. I'm doing this stupid thing." Like, and I was like, "Fuck you! Like, go fuck yourself! Like, get the fuck out of here, you piece of fucking shit! I know who you are." I'm glad I actually like slept a normal amount last night. Like the past like 3 nights, I like slept like 3 or 4 hours, and it was just not good.
I haven't slept since like Sunday, so
That's not good, Joe. Not good.
Yeah, that sounds like could actually be the reason why you feel like you're physically falling apart. I would attribute much of that to the complete insomnia that you've experienced.
actually it's not that. It's the hip it's the hip problems, like the neck soreness, the spinal cord issues.
I don't know if you
It's
know.
not the tiredness.
Well, no, because when I didn't sleep, like, and this is after I got clean, like I have spent multiple days awake, and it fucks with your entire, like, not just your mind, but it does start to fuck with your entire body because, like, all of your energy is just adrenaline. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know what you mean.
Dude,
You're
I
not
second
you're
this.
not running on real energy anymore.
My first finals week, I went like 3 days without sleeping, and by day 3, it was starting to hit me, like that, like the physical aspect was starting to hit me.
Well, I was gonna say, no, but like sleeping like has like a real like not sleeping has like a real detrimental effect on your body, and it's like not a joke, like when I had like
Your
my
immune
mental,
system.
yeah, your immune system, like everything, it really does something to you. So you got to be careful not sleeping, like really make sure to dedicate time to like sleeping properly and like value that.
Joe, is the new encroaching Red Scare contributing to keeping you awake?
Just a little bit.
I was on mute, but like Ryan was like, "What about the high cost of fungal medication? Is that what's keeping you awake?"
Yo, I thought I had a fungal infection in my fucking toe because like last week I was running into my bedroom and I like.
Ryan was just like, "Don't tell the government."
I was running into my bedroom and I like punted my bed frame, and when I went to cut my toenail, it was just not the same color.
Yeah, that'll do it. But like this like new like wave is kind of it's a bit like darker than like the last couple of decades of like shit hitting the fan, because like it's one thing for like Trump to be like having a hissy conniption fit, being like, "Oh, we're gonna make Antifa like a terrorist organization," and there is no like statute. But it's another thing for like the Department of Justice to be like, "We're gonna try to figure out how to make this a thing, and then we're gonna use like the pretext of like, oh, we think these socialist people are like suspected Antifa members, and that's going to be our pretext for rounding up all the leftists.
The other day, I can't find it right now, but I did see a bill where they're basically trying to say that like a Marxist ideology is like terroristic, and that's not encouraging. So
No, especially for somebody who literally has a sickle and hammer tattooed on their arm already. It's a little bit disconcerting.
My friend has a sickle and hammer tattooed on her hip, so you know, it's what it is.
Like I remember, like last August when Ted Cruz like started putting like bills on the floor of the Senate trying to like Antifa like a terrorist group. It's like, yeah, but that's Ted Cruz. He's just trying to message to the far right weirdos to like, hey, I'm like also like a weirdo chud. But now it's like, oh yeah, the DOJ's talking about like doing this thing. And like if Trump gets reelected, like somehow managed to like come up with like domestic terror statutes, like what happens to the left? Do we all like have to go underground, or do we just like have to like go to Canada for a while? Like what happens to the left in a situation in which there is a legal pretext to start rounding up people who are suspected of having like anti-fascist tendencies?
We fight even harder, you know?
yeah.
That's my response. Like, you don't let that happen. Like, you don't stand by and let that happen. I don't know what that necessarily means, but like, I don't know. I was just, like the other day, like there's like some post online about, I'm foggy about it, but I was talking about how like I made this like long post about like what like line, how far do we let this fucking go until we take action and like we say no more. It was about how Donald Trump like literally like made this Facebook ad that was, what was it calling for? Like it used the Nazi symbol, like the Nazi symbol for political prisoners. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah, the triangle, exactly. That's so I shared this post about it, and like I went on, like it was like I made this very long post, like being like, when do we say like that's enough? Like we stop it. Like when it's time that they're knocking down my door, it's gonna be freaking too late. Like how many signs do we need that we are actively in a fascist state? Like that is where we live right now, is a fascist state. Like when do we stop it? We have people dying on our borders. People are dying on our borders. Like that's not an exaggeration. They are gassing. They're spray. Like I don't know if you guys seen that. Like they're spraying disinfectant every 15 minutes, and the disinfectant burns their skin, causes rashes, makes it hard to breathe. And the people who work there wear this like hazmat suit and like a like a, whatever you call it, a gas mask.
A respirator.
A respirator, thank you. You're telling me that's not gonna like kill someone in like a month after they do that daily every 15 minutes? In that like post, like I commented on, like I was responding to someone's comments and they were like, well, we don't really have to like, luckily, like we're not gonna necessarily die because like we're white, like we'll be kind of okay, we'll make it through it. I was like, dude, like I won't. Like I will not make it through it because I'm going to do whatever I can fucking do in my goddamn power to make sure that doesn't happen to like I'm going to get myself killed pretty much. Like I'm not going to play it safe, and I'm not going to let them round people up. I don't know what that means for me. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm not going to stand by. I can't.
As a student of history, I'm significantly less optimistic about the left, or even like the proletariat in general's like capacity to like push back once the ball starts moving in that direction, because the IWW tried resisting the first Red Scare in the wake of World War I. They were literally taking up arms and fighting the state, and they got massacred. The state were literally hunting them down and lynching them in the streets. There was this this infamous massacre in Washington State, in which like dozens of IWW members were just massacred in the middle of the street.
It became a reality for me at the protest on Saturday, seeing literal Nazis behind like a row of cops from the BPD, one of whom definitely didn't have a badge on at all, and another one who taped over his badge number.
How are those actions like freaking legal? Like, how are they allowed to freaking do that? Like, what? It makes me mad. That's all I gotta say.
And also, half of them didn't have any face masks on.
Yeah, they didn't have body cams either.
Yeah.
We're just trying to die of a respiratory illness to own the libs.
Speaking of cops like not wearing face masks, so I was having a discussion the other day. Like I was talking with this homeless guy, Rick. I walked by him and I like noticed that he didn't have a mask on, and I do the mask coordinating for LAMA, Lowell's Mutual Aid Group. So I was like, oh, hey, do you need a mask? Like I have some in my apartment. I can go grab one for you and like bring one back, no problem. He was like, oh no, I have one. I just don't wear it because I really like hard for me to breathe and whatnot, which, you know, is a thing. But, you know, he has like bad allergies apparently, and it like really gets bad when he's wearing a mask. I was like, oh yeah, totally get that. No problem. I just want to help out, whatever. And it like started on this discussion about how like a cop like came up to him and was like, I'm going to have to fine you. Like, hello. I'm going to like, why aren't you wearing a mask? Like, oh, I have one. Sorry. You know, I wasn't wearing one. It's like, well, you're not wearing one right now. So I'm gonna have to write up a fine. And like, meanwhile, like this guy is homeless. Like Like you can tell he's homeless. He has like a backpack and like, I'm going to fine you $300, homeless man. And then what he said in response to it, he's like, okay, well then, I don't know, I'm going to have to write one up for you, like a civilian arrest type thing. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you're trying to be smart to me? Like he got like mad. And he's like, well, you're not wearing a mask either. And I was like, are you shitting me? This cop wasn't wearing a mask either. He was going to fine this man, this homeless individual, $300. Like, yeah, like he's going to be able, he has $300 to pay this fine. Oh, and he wasn't even wearing a mask. You gotta be like out of your mind to be like, I'm gonna fine someone for not wearing a mask while I'm actively not wearing a mask. Fuck the police. That's all I gotta say.
But you're forgetting that like cops are like incredibly entitled people. Like, so this makes perfect sense. Like they get like a stomachache from a milkshake and assume it's a hate crime.
Or sorry, that poor woman that had to wait.
The Egg McMuffin.
Wait for her fucking McMuffin.
I didn't watch the video because like I was like, I don't need to watch this. Like I don't want to watch a cop crying. Like I don't give a fuck, you know. But yeah. The memes that came out of it though, they're good.
Yeah, I didn't feel the need to watch the video. It's like great. It's basically just a Karen video, but it's like it's a Karen with a gun.
But by proxy, I guess Karens already have guns, so because they have their phones, they can just call a cop. So
true.
Yeah.
Speaking of actual Karens with a gun, did you guys see?
There's like two lawyers or something.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking of that
St.
actually.
Louis, that like literally was aiming a gun with like that married couple or whatever, white married couple that literally were aiming a gun at protesters with their finger on the fucking trigger.
Multiple guns.
And did not get arrested. Amazing. Wow. Like I saw this, like I saw this post like a bunch, and like one person that shared it like was like, have you like in the post was like motioning to the people reading the post, like, have you ever held a gun? Because you're literally not supposed to have your finger on the trigger unless you are going to shoot. Because if you were startled, if you were bumped, if you were whatever, you could accidentally shoot someone. Like very possibly.
As someone who's actually had an assault rifle pointed at them before, it's to put it mildly, not a pleasant experience. Also, the mansion that they were defending from the protesters looks really ugly on the inside.
Yes.
Well, I mean, it's a reflection of who they are
Mm-hmm.
as humans.
As you can see,
ultimate bootlickers.
I just changed my background to them so you can see how ugly they are.
Which is why I was laughing.
I mean, it shows who the side the cops are really on, and this reminds me of a discussion that I've been having with a few comrades about like like where cops stand in like the class structure, and like to Marx, class was more of a social relationship than it was like a position in society. And there's a social relationship between the different classes, and the social relationship between like the working class and the ruling class is class struggle, and the cops inherently are working for the ruling class against class struggle, so the cops are inherently against the proletariat. And so like though they do labor, if you consider what they do labor, like they're not working class to resolve that debate, if anybody is still having it.
And they shouldn't be in unions.
Yes, exactly.
Cop unions are gangs.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they like they're a disgrace, and they give a bad name to actual like unions,
Yeah,
like
for
real
sure.
unions. It's an absolute disgrace.
It reminds me though, like what you were saying about like the police serve the ruling class. It just like reminds me of what I felt to be a very powerful moment at the protest this past Saturday. This woman like ran on to the other side towards the original protest being like put on by, was it Super Happy Fun Time? Or well, not Super Happy Fun Time, Super Happy Fun America.
Yeah, Super Happy
I don't
Fun
know. You know, whatever their stupid name is. Ran over to the other side and she grabbed a flag and then was running to get off of the other side, you know, and she got they grabbed her, not the police. Those protesters grabbed her, and like everyone on our side was like, fuck, we have to get over there and do something now.
That was when I jumped the first barricade. That was how I ended up like face to face with the cops.
Yeah, and the cops come out. Now the cops, like before this moment, the cops weren't really in front of our protest. They were like on the side. They weren't in between the two crowds, but the cops come out and they all just start facing us. You know, they're facing us and they're protecting that side. And we start chanting, who do you serve? Who do you protect? And that just, I don't know, to me, that was a powerful moment to be in. A upsetting moment at the same time, because it's like, this is like you're literally like a woman is being grabbed right now, and your reaction is to stop people from potentially saving her and protecting literal Nazis. That's cool. That's real cool. That's awesome.
Well, it's because many of them themselves are Nazis, most likely. I mean, why do you think white supremacists have always gravitates towards law enforcement? Because law enforcement itself, at least in settler colonial societies, the institution itself is one of the major foundations of that institution is white supremacy. You can't, it's so intertwined that like you can't do away without white supremacy. You can't do away with white supremacy within the institution without ripping out the foundation. And if you rip, it's like playing a game of Jenga. If you rip out the foundation, the whole thing collapses.
I mean, like, police started as slave patrols, so.
It's interesting though, like in other, like the UK, for example, the Metropolitan Police Department in London was like the first professional police force in the country and in the world. And they were actually modeled off of the experiences of the Royal Irish Constabulary, which was this like ruthless like paramilitary force basically that was created and used to like enforce the British colonial occupation and rule of Ireland. And they took those lessons and they incorporated them into the Metropolitan Police Department. And the working class parts of London were very hostile towards the police. Like kids would like hide in alleys and wait for cops to walk by and then throw bricks at them.
It's called praxis.
Exactly. Like cops are like the quintessential example of a class traitor in like class traitor as in like in like the term in like socialist and communist discourse of like the past century of like workers who are willingly complicit in like systems that like oppress workers writ large.
Essentially the American police force serves to protect private property, to handle the consequences of austerity, and to control surplus populations.
Yeah, they are not here to protect us. They aren't meant to be here to protect us. I don't know if you guys saw this. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Yeah, this New York Times article, justices rule police do not have a constitutional duty to protect someone. What? Police do not have a constitutional duty to protect someone?
When was that?
I didn't click on the article. Oh, wow, this is old. This is real old. June 28th, 2005.
You know, when you think about it, that kind of makes sense that it happened around, because it was around that time that Dick Cheney shot that lawyer in the face.
It's a good connection, Joe.
I still think the most, like, fucked up part of that story is that, like, the guy who shot in the face apologized to Cheney.
I'm still convinced that Cheney was like the brains behind the Bush Jr. administration.
Oh, of course he was.
Well, what are you talking about, convinced? That is just the truth. Those are just the facts. Also, who in the 21st century uses the phrase evildoers in a speech?
Well, Mitch McConnell compared himself to, or he compared the GOP to, yeah, I think he said the Death Star. I think
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of funny he mentions that because, like, George Lucas has explicitly said that, like, the original trilogy, like, the Galactic Empire was supposed to be, like, a metaphor for, like, Cold War era U.S. imperialism.
Scott.
What's up?
Hey. Did you have another bullet point that you wanted to talk about? Because I feel like I took us off track with the Death Star thing.
No, not really.
Okay.
I could talk like more about like the protest on Saturday. I don't know. What was like another, moment from it? I don't know.
When did you leave?
So I left when a group of people were like saying they heard that the police were like shutting down the streets and like cornering us in. And I was like, oh, get out before they corner us in. That's no good. So I followed that group, like my group of friends and I followed that group. And then we confirmed that they weren't closing off the streets in that way. And I came back for a little bit, but unfortunately my boyfriend really wasn't feeling good and was feeling sick, so we had to head out. So I came back and I saw the duck guy as the last standing. So I saw the duck guy as the last standing, and then I left before they started moving to the different location.
Yeah, after that, I mean, there wasn't any, honestly, the cops just kind of filed out because the Nazis left, so fucking...
So there were no like flashes or anything? Just...
No, there was no violence. Well, I guess you could consider it must have been scary as fuck for that girl who grabbed the flag and then had a bunch of fucking Nazis bear hug her. But aside from that, no. Like, literally the cops left with the fucking Nazis because, I mean, those are their homies. You know what I mean? If they were going to go, I don't know, have a tea party or something.
Yeah. Did you guys see, like, a couple other people went to the other side, too. This, like, one woman with, like, signs in her, like, front and her back, just, like, different, like, I forget what the sign said. It's not coming to me. But she, like, tried to go in front of their, like, sound setup and, like, stand there. And this, like, I don't know, 60-year-old woman, like, fucking grabbed the sign off her back and, like, ripped it off her back. I wouldn't have had the guts to, like, go over there and, like, be surrounded by them, you know, because they were, like, surrounding her. But, like, at this point, they were like, we're not going to touch someone again, which is good. You shouldn't touch people that you don't know and whatnot. That's not cool. But yeah, they, like, had her surrounded. I was like, oh, my God, that's anxiety provoking. And good for you for still doing it. But, like, woo, that was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I had to exercise a lot of self-control, but not because, like, oh, I'm so fucking tough, like, I'm going to go beat him up. It's just, like...
You jumped over a barrier, though.
Well, yeah, but
that's some wild shit.
I also jumped over a barrier. First time I've ever done that. My body is not meant to jump over barriers, let me tell you. I, like, almost fell over the barrier. Like, my legs are not opposite of, what's it called, like, bowed knee? Yeah, opposite of bowed knee, and I have extra bones in my legs. So my legs are just really funny. And it's very hard for me to do certain things. And trying to climb over a barricade was difficult. Luckily, people helped me out. It was very nice. Thank you, kind strangers, because I would have fell.
No, that's praxis.
Yeah, honestly, it was awesome to see, like, I don't want to say the left, because it was just more, people in support of Black Lives Matter in general. And, well, it was mostly anti-fascist protesters, but the way that we
assume if you, like, I feel like people who support Black lives are typically on the left, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fair assessment. But, we're good at taking care of each other, yo. Like, we have the water, the hand sanitizer, the masks, people going around saying, like, hey, you want a Cliff Bar or whatever? Like,
Yeah, the medics and the marshals.
Yeah.
They're both very good.
Everything goes great right up until people start talking about theory. We're great at the whole, like, actual solidarity thing when it comes to, like, fighting fascists. But like, we spend all this time tearing each other apart because, like, oh, Mao said this or Trotsky said that, and now you're an idiot or
some podcast subreddit was just deleted or something,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it is like a real shame, like I hate that kind of bickering,
I live for it, yo.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, if you want to bicker.
No, I mean like bickering to the point that like you're like not seeing each other as equals, you know what I mean? Like bickering to the point that you're like, that guy's an idiot, and like that type of stuff. I don't know what I mean, but
this is a very important point. No, it's an important point because if we want to be like good leftists with good praxis, then we have to take our comrades in good faith. And
absolutely.
Especially online and especially on Twitter, it's been said a lot, that doesn't happen. There's no incentivization to actually take anyone at face value or in good faith on Twitter. So don't try to do politics on Twitter. Just chill out and make jokes, but don't do politics on Twitter.
But yeah, like I think it's like so important to like support your like fellow leftists, and like, there's differences between anarchists and communists and socialists, but like in general,
it's tankies and anarchities.
But in general, we're all trying to fight the same fight, like let's support each other. That's how I feel. Like, I don't know. I generally just call myself a leftist instead of like a socialist or a communist or an anarchist or whatever. I just call myself a leftist because I'm like, I believe in fighting for things on the left, and I want to just fight that fight.
There's a very good meme that puts forth this sentiment, and it's like two dudes shaking hands through like a hole, like a door with a giant hole slammed through it, and one of them has like the little Ushanka hat on, and the other dude has shades on, and it's like Marxist-Leninists and anarchists making fun of each other on the internet, but still coming together like in the time of need.
Yeah,
I butchered that fucking meme. I have no idea what it says, but I remember the visual part.
Yeah, it sounds good, yo.
I've always been of like I'm a socialist, but I've always been like of the position that like, guys, shut the fuck up about all the bickering. We can do that after we overthrow capitalism. We're all agreed on the basic goal that we're all trying to get rid of capitalism. The Maoists can go fight the Leninists or whatever after we get rid of capitalism.
And this is
figure it out afterwards. Like, it's so fun to like see all of these leftists bickering about how to use power that they don't have.
Yeah, exactly. And this is the whole fucking like class reductionist point is like a real fucking leftist would understand that like the base oppression that we're all under is like capitalism as working people, and once we dismantle that, then there's other oppressions, like there is racism, there is sexism, there is transphobia that we're going to have to dismantle. But once we just like take apart the main oppression that is keeping everyone down, then the fight is a lot fucking easier.
Absolutely,
and
100%.
That's the only way you can be intersectional. And that's like why people who say like, oh, you're a class reductionist if you're like you try to stick like strictly to like a Marxist interpretation of things, it's like, no, motherfucker, like that's not how it's going to work. Like we have to approach these things in a way that like will actually cause like real lasting change, because if we keep the structure of capitalism, racism is never going to fucking go away, or like the instrumentation and the power of racism is never going to go away.
This might offend some people, but this is why I think social democracy is basically a kinder face of neoliberalism. Because sure, having a welfare state is well and fine, but you're not really confronting the power structure.
I kind of agree with that.
Speaking of Mao,
I was waiting for you to do that.
hear me out. Speaking of Mao, under Mao, the Chinese state was able to prioritize the dialectic between the ruling class and the oppressed sort of castes in that caste system. They were able to unify so that they could fight off Japan. And then once they were able to do that, they kind of resumed warring like civil war. So if they could do that, then we could fucking figure this shit out.
Like, literally, the Communist Party, put a pause on waging a war against the capitalist class to fight the Japanese for 10, 15 years. They were in coalition with capitalists for 15 years, put pause on the Civil War, and then once the war was over, they put it back on play, and within 4 years had crushed the shit out of the capitalist ruling class of China and sequestered them to a little island out in the Pacific.
So it has a happy ending.
It does. Well, I mean, as long as you just let the history textbook end in the mid-70s.
Well, I mean, it depends. It has a happy ending if you're a fucking communist. I don't know if it has a happy ending if you're a landlord.
No, I mean, in terms, I was referring to China's shift towards more of state capitalism in the 80s. So you don't have to see China become that which it swore to destroy. Because China's now a state capitalist country that doesn't even have a welfare state.
Yeah, my concern is that America will adopt all of the most repressive elements of the Chinese government and none of the socialistic aspects of it.
We're already kind of there.
Yeah, it's just a surveillance state, but your fucking student loans are getting sold to private corporations that can harass you for debt.
We're already kind of there. It's just the only real major difference is that we pretend to try to keep up the illusion that we're not doing exactly what we're doing. China's just upfront about the fact that they're a totalitarian sort of surveillance state. They're just yeah, it's what we're doing. We're not gonna try to pretend that this is somehow a democracy. No, we're watching all of you. Critique of China detected.
Jesse, you gonna say something?
Nah.
Okay.
All right, do we want to wrap this up?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. We should do this I'm blah blah.
Also, I think we should probably have a blurb at the end asking people to subscribe to the podcast so people actually listen to it.
What, Scott?
Put my finger in her mouth.
Oh.
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 I
Oh,
didn't
very-
even,
Never
I
mind.
wasn't paying
Very
attention
clever.
to your background. and
Very,
whatnot.
very clever with the visuals there.
Fucking my genius will go unrecognized in my time. It's fine. So that's where we're wrapping it up. Okay.
Pulling a Jill Biden.
Pulling a Jill Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the finger biting.
Dude,
You remember
that's my
several months
boss
ago
thing.
that she was Joe Biden's wife was talking on the campaign trail, and he was biting her finger.
Oh, yeah.
So
Totally normal behavior.
real quick, because I will say a blurb right now, and if everybody wants to say their names and if they have some social media they want people to follow them on.
Oh, maybe.
Oh yeah, no, what the fuck? Yeah, okay.
Before you say the thing, my roommate, I sent my roommate a picture of what my boss said in the freaking work chat, and she's like, "Don't worry, guys. Ashley definitely doesn't have COVID because I can tell because I'm psychic." And it's exactly, fuck, hate my boss. I really don't like my boss, and it sucks.
Because the boss said so, it must be true.
Yeah. Honestly, I hope I have fucking COVID. I really fucking do. So I can be you fucking bitch, you made me go into work last Wednesday. Now everyone's fucked. Everyone's fucked to the brim. Literally everyone who works the food bank every fucking week will have to be out for 2 goddamn weeks. And now, 50 families of young adults aren't going to get food for 2 weeks because you fucking made me go into work when I knew I was potentially had COVID. Ah, sorry. God damn it.
Honestly, I feel that because like I've quietly been feeling this something similar, but like my sentiment has been, well, almost all of my coworkers are like boomers or older. So like, joke's on you if I get COVID. You guys are all most likely fucked because you're a lot older and therefore have a weaker immune system. So the joke's on you guys.
And with that, you can subscribe to us on, we're on Spotify now, so you can subscribe to us on Spotify, The Epoch of Incredulity. I'm Scott. You can follow me on Twitter at DeathMullet. I'm also on Instagram at that name. Jesse, go.
What do you want? Oh, I'm not on anything. I'm on. So I'm not.
Say your name.
Don't do Twitter. I'm Jesse. I'm Jesse Talbot. Yeah. I mean, I think my YouTube shit. You can follow my SoundCloud if you want.
See, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna be like, follow my embroidery account.
Yeah, yo. What is it? Plug it.
Yeah, Ashley.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley. You can follow me at Risky Stitches on Instagram. I, typically do make some like political art there, so check it out, yo. I make hats and stuff, so that's fun, commissions, hit me up.
Oh yeah, I remember the website. Please visit comrade-rosie.org. We are actually going to start posting these episodes on there. We have the first, well, I guess we can just post a link to the whole thing. It's up. We have resources for people in the Boston area who need some extra help right now. Share it around.
And we need Joe to go.
Wait, what am I doing again?
You're just saying like your name and if there's any there's any social media shit you want people to follow you on or not.
I'm Joe. You can find me on Twitter at JLFB96. I'm on Instagram at JLFB1996.
Please visit comrade-rosie.org. We're going to have the episodes up there and links for mental health resources, people in recovery, and other things going on around the city in regards to those things. And enjoy your epoch.